Griffin the Griffin by BlackWing. Chapter 38. Gilda. Author's Note. So I know you all want to know what happened during that week with the main six on board. I didn't really go into it because it was from Griffin's point of view and it would be hell long. So I'm making a couple chapters from the point of view of each of the characters in order to get you a little more familiar with them and to the story. The first one is from the point of view of Gilda.
Dweebs, dweebs, dweebs. I can't wait for this week to be over so we can just dump the pony parade off and get back to the way things used to be. I'm not too happy about it, but Griff wants us to get along, so I guess I at least have to try. I still don't get what he finds so awesome about these six, but he's in charge and he knows what he's doing. I swear, if Pinky or Dash try making fun of me, I'll throw them into the ocean at Mach 2. At least I have Shimmer, but she's a little young yet for me to talk to about my problems like this. Looking around in the main hall, I see the yellow and pink Pegasus, with the blue eyes. Fluttershy, was it? Yeah. Griff said I should talk to her. I don't really get it. I mean, she's timid all the time. She's like a mouse. No way she's cool. That, and I have to apologize for Ponyville. Let's just get this over with. Hey! She turns to look at me and takes a step back. Her eyes are shaking. Yep, she remembers me. Why is she so afraid all the time? She looks like she just wants to run away, curl up in a ball, and hide. Makes me sick. She should stand up for herself. Otherwise, she'll just keep getting pushed around. Listen, I'll say it once, so listen good, because I won't say it again. About Ponyville, when I yelled at you, I'm sorry. I want to puke. There's at least one thing done with.
Okay.
What, that's it? She's not gonna ask why or give me a hard time? She's just gonna say it's done and over with? Oh, well, not my problem. I said sorry, she forgave me, so it's over, right? It's just, I get so frustrated. I hadn't seen Dash in a long time. I just wanted to hang out with her for a bit, and the pink one wouldn't leave us alone for a second. I just wanted to catch up with an old friend, but it seems like her new friends were more important to her. What the hell am I doing? Stop! I don't need to explain myself to her. Just walk away. Why can't I walk away? So I got upset, and I blew up at the first thing to get in my way. And that was you, and it was wrong. Dumbass! Why can't I stop talking? She's so quiet. It makes an awkward silence, and I just can't shut up.
Do you want to go somewhere private to talk about?
That's odd, she spoke. She's asking me to open up and talk about this? No, it's not her problem. It's mine. I only ever told Griff because he's the same. What would she know? I should tell her off and... Those eyes. Why can't I get mad enough at her to just tell her to just take a hike? She's not looking down at me like everyone else. She genuinely cares? Why? All I ever did is yell at her. Why does she want to talk to me?
They wonder what makes you angry, what made you be like that. They wanted to know your hidden pain and take it away.
Griff's words echoed through my head. So that's it. Why he didn't know any of them. And his life was hell because of it. There are those who care. They exist to heal. And she's one of them. Even now, I'm just sitting here, having an inner monologue, and instead of asking me again, she's just waiting patiently for my answer.
I mean, it's okay if you don't want to.
She backed away. Now she feels like she's overstepped a boundary. She's shaking again, probably afraid I'll get mad. Stop it. Hey, don't do that. Now I feel guilty, damn it. Fine, let's go. She stopped quivering, looked up, and began to follow me. Shimmer's with the monitor, so it'll be just us. Once in my room, I closed the door and laid down on the bed. Just make yourself comfortable. She looked around, trying to make sure she didn't step on anything before she sat on the floor. So, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, nothing really. You can start.
She looked at me around nervously and seemed to shrink when she saw my bow and arrows set in the corner. She opted not to look at anything, just sitting there with a blank look on her face, her mane hiding her right eye. I lay on my back on the bed for a couple of minutes, silent, before taking a picture frame from my pack I hadn't shown to anyone, not even Griff. It was my family.
What's that? If you don't mind telling me, that is.
I haven't shown it to anyone. I swear, don't you ever tell anyone about this. I glared, and she shrank again.
Oh, I'm sorry I asked.
She turned her head so her mane fell over both her eyes, so she wouldn't have to look at me. She acts like it's a shield, but it's just flimsy hair. No, it's all right. Here, just be careful with it. Passing her the frame, she looked at it carefully before passing it back to me.
Who are they?
She asked softly, hoping I wouldn't be offended by the question. They're my family. Here's my mom, here's my dad, and here's me. I pointed out each of the figures, the tiny little bundle of feathers and fur. This was taken... I don't even remember how long ago it was. I was 6? No, 7. We were poor. I mean, all Griffins are, but we had each other. We were together, something most didn't have, and we were happy because of that.
What happened?
She asked the question, and I tensed up, grabbing the wooden bedposter. On my 8th birthday, they took me out to practice flying. We couldn't go out much because it was dangerous, and I got caught. Damn fucking diamond dogs! She recoiled at my outburst. I was breathing hard, my memories of that time had come welling back up. I took a minute to calm down, and she seemed a little nervous. I don't blame her now. A potentially violent me, and she's defenseless. I let go of the bedpost, and it had my claw marks in it. Annette came down and trapped me. My mom and dad came as fast as they could. They fought them, but they lost. My dad lost his right wing, while my mom distracted them. He put the detached limb over me to try and hide me. It didn't work. They knocked us all out with gas, and when I woke up, I had chains on me and a harness. I was only 8. They had me pulling carts of gems that would make earth pennies sweat, and I was 8.
I'm so sorry.
She took a few steps closer and stopped when I interrupted her. Don't be. It's not your fault. Besides, the story's not over.
Oh?
She sat back down. A year. A whole year of that underground. Coughing, choking on the stale air, pulling something I had no business pulling. My parents worked hard. Really hard, so the dogs would trust them not to try anything. They stole a key and unlocked me. I hid in the darkness, praying to whatever God is supposed to be looking after us Griffins, who has been doing a right terrible job at it, that I wouldn't get found. They took my dad to a room, and when he said he didn't know where I was, they beat him, and then cut off his other wing. I was so afraid, so scared. I hid, sneaking through the tunnels for 3 days, no food or water before I finally got out. Fluttershy was crying at this point. She dove at me, wrapped her hooves around my neck, pressing herself against me, soaking me with her tears. Against my will, a few of my own escaped. So, the image I have burned in my mind, the one I see every night, is the one of my mother, telling me they'd be fine to go and escape, to live my life and be happy, and have a happy birthday. I have no idea what happened to them after that. I hate them! I hate them so much! I was barely able to stop myself from killing Etch and Growl on a couple occasions. Just flying, carrying them. Hey, maybe I could just drop them from up here. And then I remember, they were slaves too. They went through the same thing I did, and at the hands of their own species, no less.
That's so terrible.
And it's not over. I worked hard. I worked myself to the bone. I scrimped and saved and starved, and I moved to Equestria. I went to Cloudsdale, and I met Rainbow Dash. She was so confident. I never saw her parents around, but she never let it get to her. She talked about them once in a while. Her dad, nothing was ever good enough. He wanted a colt, so he tried molding her into one. She was tough, strong, and fast. They teased her, of course, because of her mane and her macho attitude, but she never let it get to her. They called her a filly fool when nothing could be further from the truth. We grew up together. Eventually, we went our separate ways. I went off and did my own thing, trying to figure out a way I could see my parents again.
And then?
She asked. I was full on crying now. I went and saw her in Ponyville. She had new friends. She had replaced me. I felt so worthless. I thought it might be okay. Maybe she hadn't replaced me. Maybe we would catch up, but Pinks would give us a second chance, and the party, the humiliation was just too much. I was so alone. Again. I just wanted to die. I didn't care where I went anymore. I just ended up drifting to the Dragon Badlands, where I found Griff. I dragged him back to the cave I found a bit earlier. He was beaten all his life, and instead of getting sad, he got angry. He could fight back, and he knew it. But his world was different from ours, with different rules. He couldn't fight back there, despite having the ability. His enemies had all the friends in high places. He couldn't touch them. He became one big ball of rage.
What happened next?
Well, we worked together to get some food. I taught him to fly, new body and all, and it was new to him. After all, a couple days, we started getting along pretty well. And he wanted to go back to where I found him, to look for clues about how he'd gotten there, and maybe find something of use. And that's when the dragon showed up.
Dragon?
Fluttershy stammered. Wow, she really is afraid of everything. Yeah, we tried to escape, but it torched me. I couldn't fly anymore. He realized he couldn't escape, even if he left me behind, which he refused to do. That dragon had harder scales than all these ones, and that was the least twice as big. It looked like death itself. He never had any real friends either, and then, having finally found one in me, only for the dragon to try and eat me, he got mad. He got this look in his eyes that said, I don't care if the spirits themselves try to strike me down because I'll live through it, find them and kick their asses for even thinking of hurting me and my friends. He flew right up to it, ripped a scale out, and dove down its throat.
That's...
I thought he was dead, and then the dragon starts thrashing around, blowing fire trying to get him out. It fell over, dead, and he walked out of its mouth, acting like it was nothing at all. Sure, he freaked the hell out afterwards, but for the moment, he just looked... I can't explain it. He was bruised, cut up, burned, covered in blood, and he looked beautiful. He's the first the first one who ever stuck their necks out for me since my parents. So I decided to stay with him. I didn't have much of a choice not being able to fly and all. He made a salve for my burns, took care of me while I healed. And after I told him my story, he told me he was going to take over half the world, so stuff like this never happens again.
And?
First I laughed. I called him crazy. But when I looked at his face, the same proud face of victory he wore when he did the impossible and saved my life, I suddenly realized he could do it. He can do it, but not without help. My help. So I joined him. And now we're famous throughout and known the world. Even if we fail, we can't pull it off. We made waves all throughout Equestria. Ponies who know who we are, and they're starting to figure out what we stand for, especially after we bailed Blue Blood out. Odds are, others are going to start following suit. We're gathering support, even if it's just ponies, wishing us good luck. They're behind us. It's time for change, and we're going to bring it. Whether the world is ready or not, because despite what it wants, this thing needs to happen now. He gave me hope when there was none, and he can do the same for the rest of us. I'd follow him to hell and back. Heck, I already have. Volcanic wastes are close enough. That's why he's the captain. I was never much of one for motivational speaking, but something about Griffin ignited a fire in my heart. The way he does things, going overboard and lashing out at the slightest provocation, making the world know that he's not one to mess with, and he's not going to get pushed around. Damn it, now I'm acting like a schoolgirl crushing over the stormball captain. Except he's a pirate, and by definition, a loser.
He's kind of scary.
My thoughts were interrupted by the soft voice of the pony hugging me, and I'd unconsciously began combing her mane with my claw. Nah, just talk to him. He acts all tough, but when he's not fighting, he's just a big softy. By the way, he happens to like you. Something about adorable or something, and he's really soft. Well, when he's not wearing his armor. One thing I know about him, he knows people or ponies better than they know themselves. He'll act different depending on who he's around. If you walk up to him, he'll turn into a big soft marshmallow because that would make you feel the most comfortable.
Oh, okay.
She blushed at the mention of the pirate captain, thinking she's adorable. Oh, and Fluttershy? Thanks.